Today we're going to talk about the power of the tongue. And, excuse me, the lesson I gave last week, I mentioned that about how that sometimes, at least last week's lesson and this week, last week was when Jesus turned the money changers over and moved everybody out of the temple because they were selling and buying and etc. And we talked about that, and I said how very it just seems so different to Jesus' teaching to have that kind of an attitude or that kind of behavior, whatever. And then we found out why he did and so on. So that was okay. So this week, I'm talking about again some of what Jesus said, and in this story seems so out of character again for Jesus, but he had a spiritual message in this story. And so you remember that or maybe you don't, but I'll refresh your memory. That Jesus and his disciples went to Bethany. And the account is found in the book of Matthew. And they were on the way back they were on their way back from Bethany when they met some friends, and very good friends, if you remember, Martha and Mary and Lazarus. And the very next morning, after they had this sort of a reunion with these dear friends, Jesus and his disciples were nearing Jerusalem. And that's when Jesus saw a fig tree. And saw the fig tree out there in the distance. And when he got up to the fig tree, he found nothing on it. And so I'd like to share with you that story. And very, very brief it is, this part of it anyway. It's from the book of Matthew. It's from the 21st chapter. And when he saw a fig tree in the way, he came to it and found nothing thereon but leaves only, and said unto it, Let no fruit grow on thee henceforth forever. And presently the fig tree withered away. Now, so he said, let no fruit grow on it. Forever, period, zip. And the fig tree just seems kind of pretty strange. Wouldn't you say that to find Jesus speaking to a fig tree, and because it didn't have fruit, he condemned it, he so on. And, his disciples had a problem with that. His disciples, because it was out of character, they thought, of what Jesus had always taught. And so, excuse me, so his disciples said, I'm getting ahead of myself. Forgive me. The disciples knew from what we call the Old Testament some truths. And from the Old Testament, from the book of Job, thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. And it does us well if we remember that. You shall also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. Okay. Here is from, all this is from the Old Testament. Okay. Now, the disciples understood the Old Testament. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. who keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles. Excellent. And the burden of Jehovah shall ye mention no more, for every man's, let me turn the page, every man's own words shall be his burden. Then Jesus had taught, and I say unto you, this is Jesus' words, and I say unto you, that every idle word that man shall speak, every idle word that man shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. And we're not talking when we release this body temple and move on. We're talking about day of judgment is every single solitary day. Okay. I'll explain in a minute. Then Jesus says, For by the words thou art shall be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. And then, not that which entereth into the mouth, and this is an old one, an old verse. Not that which entereth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which, you know what it is, proceedeth out of the mouth. This defileth a man. And when I say man, I mean woman also, right? The words that I have spoken unto you are spirit and are life. From the New Testament, from the book of John. Would you say that this should have been enough? I would think so. Yet they, the disciples, continue to kind of argue among themselves. They rebuke people who are trying to bring children to Jesus. Remember that? They said, no. He doesn't have time for this. He said, let the little ones come. Let the little ones come. Anyway, for they shall inherit. Okay. Metaphysics, real quick. Metaphysics, this simply means let the small, the little thoughts, ideas from God come, because they are the ones that will blossom and grow in our experience. Anyway, and what about the woman who came for help, to Jesus for help, for her daughter, because, and they said, no, because she was not the nationality that they thought Jesus should heal. That wasn't right either, it doesn't seem to me. So they spoke words of fear, and they also spoke words of doubt and anger and so on. And, we think, well, how could this be? How could the disciples do this? They had learned and they had moved along with the Jesus teachings. But are these teachings new to us? No, they're not new to us. These teachings are not new to us. However, do we believe them? Do we really, truly believe these teachings from both the Old Testament and the New Testament? Both the Old and the New Testament. Let's consider the rest of what he said that morning when they were on foot, when they were traveling. From Matthew, 21st verse again, 21 and 22. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Verily I say unto you. Verily means listen. Verily I say unto you. If ye have faith and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but also if ye shall say unto the mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done. And all things, whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. Question is, do we always believe? Do we always believe what we ask in prayer? Anyway, he says, Jesus is saying, you can use this power. You can use this power, the word, to either destroy or destroy our good. Destroy our good. Or to eliminate those huge, great, big challenges that we see in our life. Or you can use it to bring onto your life anything that you ask, believing. So if any words have power, they are words. They certainly, if any words have power, these words have power. They have mighty, mighty, mighty power. Not just what you ask for in prayer, but what do we say on a daily basis? What do we say on a daily basis? When we're rehearsing our problems, our troubles, when we're rehearsing what isn't right, what isn't good, our weaknesses, perhaps our fears, often we put more faith, more belief, and feeling in those words than we do in the positive and the true and the lasting words that we speak or that we hold in consciousness. Jesus said, "My words are spirit. My words are spirit and are life." He didn't say, he said, they are now, they are spirit and they are life. There's life in the spoken word because it is from God. The spoken word is. So there is life in the spoken word. He said, keep my words, not just give them lip service. Keep my words. Keep my words. Keep the truth that we know in our heart. Keep the truth that we have learned and use it. Use the truth. Words are analyzed intellectually. Food is chewed, okay, just as food is passed, into the stomach and to be digested and then converted into flesh, bone, and energy, and et cetera. Words are passed into the subconscious mind to take form in our affairs, in our world, in our body temple, and our affairs. So, the mystics of the Orient teach the importance of speaking only when one has something worthy to say, worth saying. In other words, don't just yickety yackety yickety yak to hear yourself talk. Oftentimes we become very uncomfortable if we're somewhere or with someone and the conversation doesn't continue. So we think of something to say. Okay? May not be right, may not be good, but we say it. So 3 points we can ask ourselves before we speak, and I know you've heard this over and over and over and over again. Number 1 is what I'm about to say, is it true? Is it really true? Excuse me. Number 2, is it kind? And number 3, is it needful? Do I need to say this? Is it necessary that I say this? Is it true? Is it kind? Is it needful? Isaiah, in the book of Isaiah, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. It says, woe, look out when we speak untruths. Look out. Woe unto them. Okay. All our woes can be traced back to a decree, what we have said, what we have put into motion, what we have accepted, put into motion. We've decreed 1,000 things we didn't want, but we did get them. We did get them. So, as we speak the word, we're really planting a seed. If it's a word, whatever the word might be, positive, loving, kind, healing, whatever, or maybe the opposite. But as we speak the word, we're really planting the seed, friends. We're really planting a seed. And this seed grows. It becomes a state of consciousness. And everything we are and everything we have is by right of consciousness. By right of consciousness. So you see, the barren fig tree symbolizes unfruitful conditions in our life and affairs. Unfruitful conditions. All of us need to bring forth the fruits of our spiritual nature, that which we were given, that which we are. Just as it is to the function of that fig tree to produce figs, to do right, what's right and good. When we discover within ourselves that we have a certain state of mind that is not constructive, and it becomes the parent of unwholesome conditions, it is our right to curse or deny that state of consciousness, that thought, that whatever it might be. By the power of the word spoken in faith, we have the ability to wither the lesser, to wither that whatever it might be, that problem, that challenge, that whatever it might be. The word spoken in faith believing. And this is what Jesus said, in faith believing. So we have the ability to wither these states of mind and their negative appearances, and then we are free, as Scripture says, with the freedom of spirit. We're free from them. So, again from Scripture, from the book of John. I wrote this out so I wouldn't have to be flipping through my Bible. In the book of John, in the beginning was the Word. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God. Good. Absolute. Perfect. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. All things that were made by Him. Without Him was not anything made. God, the good. So, and then God said, and there was. Remember, first chapter of Genesis, creation. God spoke the word, and good happened. A creation came into being. God said, and there was. God said, and it was so. And God created man in His image and after His likeness. And then from the back to the Isaiah, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void. You know, in prayer ministry and, praying with people, this often comes to mind, that we speak the healing, we speak the freeing word, of wholeness, oneness, whatever it might be. And we know that as we speak the word, it does not come back void. It goes to do its perfect work. So the rest of that from Isaiah, the 55th chapter, the 11th verse. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, and it shall accomplish that which I please. And it shall prosper in the things where I sent it. It will not just fly away. And then I'd like to share with you words from Henry Victor Morgan. Peace, power, and plenty. Words that are heaven-born. Say them, ye hearts that are weary, till hope in your soul is born. For words are things that will lift on wings the one who believes them true. And whatever you will, when the mind is still, you may call to the soul of you. So let's take a moment now. We take this next few moments and I would encourage you to, at this time, at this place, whatever, to listen to your thoughts for a moment. And if you find that a thought comes up that's anything but godlike, anything, if it's thought of sickness, thought of lack, limitation, thought of anger, doesn't matter. Any kind of a negative thought that comes to your conscious mind, do as Jesus did with the fig tree and speak the freeing truth. Release it. I no longer accept you, meaning that thought or that feeling, as true for me. I release you. We deny that it any longer has any power over us. I release you. And I see in its place that thought, that feeling. In its place, I put health, wholeness, love, peace, joy. Speak the freeing word so that we are indeed free. Free. Jesus Christ said, free with the freedom of spirit, no longer bound, no longer imprisoned to our own thoughts and feelings, but we are free. We are strong and positive, peaceful, wise, loving, fearless, free spirit. I am God's perfect child. And through Jesus Christ, I realize my divine sonship. And I am transformed into the Christ image and likeness.